The Prius.
It's a car.
Yeah, it's a Toyota Prius.
It's a car.
It's a car.
It's a Toyota.
What do you want? It's
Toyota Prius. It's a car.
Yeah.
It's mostly a car.
Most cars have the button to start it. This also has the park button, which just says, you know.
You can park it.
Again, that's
it's a car. You can drive it. You can park it.
I like
it's a Toyota Prius.
It's a Prius. It moves. This is 4 guys in a car in the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid.
Sweet.
It's still noisy.
It's not noisy. It's like I feel like a ninja in this car.
Okay, guys, listen.
You know what that sounds like? Remember when you were a kid and they had those big plastic baseball bats and you hit it against things?
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
that's
It sounds like
exactly
an
that
old,
sound.
like a Fisher-Price baseball bat.
Guys, you're clearly not concerned about saving the environment, and this is what you need to be doing in a car. You need to have really thin plastics made out of recycled, you know, garbage bags and...
No, if you're concerned about saving the environment, you take the bus or the train or your bicycle. You don't buy an expensive car.
Public transit. Good one, Matt.
This is quite comfortable, number one. Number two, we're doing 2 kilometers an hour over the speed limit, and the consumption right now is quite low. I'm down to 4.5 liters per 100K. I had it, what?
This is actually going up.
I had it, what, 3.3 the other day, and you had 2.7 coming into work.
Yes, an average of 2.7.
That's
So
impressive.
Well, I don't know, Matt. This car is a little bit of a different kind of fun, and it's a bit geeky, but because the big story with this car is that they've changed out the nickel metal hydride battery for a big lithium ion one, and they've added a plug in the back of the car. So basically the idea is you plug this thing in, it charges up the battery, and officially for about 25 kilometers, you're able to drive on pure electric power. But that's really not how the car works. I live about 50 kilometers outside of Toronto, and I went home, charged the car, and then drove back in. And you find that, at least in our cold weather, the car will run on EV mode, but the gas engine also helps out. So you end up with this sort of weird combination of EV and every once in a while gasoline engine. Anyway, it works really well, and if you cooperate with the system and pay attention to what you're doing, your consumption goes way, way down. The other thing I think is great about this car is that Toyota says that the fuel economy average should be 2.1 liters per 100.
Yeah.
They say that. I was on the highway and I did 2.1. In no press car in the history of the world have I ever achieved the manufacturer's fuel economy rating.
You feel like Christmas. It feels like Christmas every day. When you do like under 5 liters per 100K, that's my metric.
Not really Christmas, maybe Flag Day.
Flag.
One thing I do agree with you on is that as much as I like this car and I think it's a good idea in terms of a way to evolve the green cars, the Prius isn't, if you like to drive, it's not a very nice car to do that in, only because it's not like a normal car. It's not as quiet as one. It feels very tinny, and some of the materials are kind of, a little bit low grade looking, and the steering has no feel, and the regenerative brakes are all mushy and that kind of thing. And again, you can take all the flaws with the car and relate them back to the idea of saving the planet, but I take pleasure out of driving, and I just don't think in a traditional sense you get that from this car. Of all the plugins out there right now, the Prius claims the fastest charge time, even on a 120 outlet, 3 hours to top up the battery, which is pretty good.
And the range is 25 kilometers?
25 kilometers.
Okay.
In EV only?
Yes, but again, the EV mode in this car, at least in the cold weather I've been driving it in, is weird, because the car, unless you drive it dangerously slow, I will say, as Michael kind of is right now, we're going to get rear-ended.
Yeah.
There's no one behind you? Okay.
Not yet.
You get really good at looking behind you in a Prius.
In the cold weather, I mean, when I got in the car in the morning, it was 2 degrees outside, and it claimed 17 kilometers of range. And that's one of the things with any electric car in Canada, is that our cold weather affects the range of the batteries. But, like I say, it's not pure EV mode unless you're driving it, what I think is at an unsafe speed. So the gas engine will come in and out to help the car and basically not deplete the battery as quickly as you would if you were just, honking on it.
Well, the thing with the Prius family is that more and more people are getting the Prius.
Yes.
So my hope is that as the Prius family either grows or gets refined over a number of years, because there are new people into the fold that aren't just, you know, calculator watch wearing bores, that they'll inject some interesting aspects into the range.